Hey folks, today is Friday, September 15th, 2023. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that is going on this week. I'm clearly in a different place. I'm at home. I'm a little jet lagged. I just got off a plane, so I apologize, but part of the reason is because I got to play a little bit of Spider-Man 2, the upcoming game, so I'll talk about that a bit later in the video, but we do have a bunch of news to talk about, so let's just jump right in. The first thing is a bit of an update, how we like to talk about graphics tech here and there. It's Unreal Engine 5.3. There are some really big changes coming to this game maker's tool set. A lot of this was revealed and detailed last week, but we couldn't fit it in the show, but from what we can see from the layman non-tech side, there's some cool stuff. They're introducing like an experimental line of features for rendering, animation, and simulation features. There's this new over-the-top cinematic quality volumetric renderings, meaning like smoke and lighting, a really over-the-top skeletal editor that this video that I will link in the description down below shows how easily it can be done and applied. Also some really cool cloth simulations and how that stuff can be laid out quickly, but also like a real overhaul and a real improvement to the nanite tech for environments and how those are rendered and how they're lit and how they look. But I'm going to link a bunch of stuff down below if you want to check all this out, because you can see on screen here, a lot of it is really gorgeous. Unreal themselves have a big Unreal Engine 5.3 breakdown video. The nanite stuff, which a lot of that was highlighted like a few months ago, that stuff I will also link. It shows the nanite tessellation and just how that works with environments. That's a little complicated though. But also if you want an explainer, Smart Poly did a really great video breaking down Unreal Engine 5.3 features, so I will link that down below as well. Ultimately, as much as it's cool, ooh, shiny, it's interesting. I always like to point out that what this is essentially doing is making it easier to create great, gorgeous stuff faster. If you're a smaller developer, these tool sets, these technological improvements will allow you to make some incredibly beautiful, gorgeous scaled stuff in less amount of time. That is why more and more, we used to always talk about like these over-the-top graphical showcases from Unreal or other tech companies, but that stuff always felt far off or not really manageable and reasonable because it was just for a small project. But the stuff they've been showing here, more often than not, we're actually going to see implemented in games within the next few years. So that's exciting. Jumping over from that though, it is worth highlighting the Unity drama. Unity, of course, is another big game engine. They pulled some stuff that seemed to piss everybody off. It seems like everybody came together from all corners of the world, everybody on the internet, people who disagree, hate each other. Everybody is pissed off at Unity for the changes that they're making. The simplest, easiest way to explain it is from The Verge, where developers will be charged a flat rate based on how many times their game is installed, no matter if that install is attached to a sale. So this causes a lot of problems. There was big concern if your game was offered for free on a platform or on sale or in a bundle, and just a bunch of people jumping into a game and downloading it, developers would get nailed for additional fees that they didn't necessarily sign up for. And this is large-scale developers, but also smaller developers, where indies can really get nailed with this stuff. And seemingly out of the blue, this essentially is like updates to the terms of service. Now, it is worth pointing out that this whole situation has been ongoing, has been evolving. Unity has come out over and over again on social media trying to explain their reasonings for this, and also how it's not going to affect Game Pass and like certain ramifications here and there, and how it's ultimately really going to affect the bigger players, just get some money out of them that they can really pay for these fees, where it should help the indies. But it seems like a lot of developers aren't really buying that. But again, this story has been developing constantly with them releasing updates and kind of rolling some things back and explaining other things. It's also worth pointing out that the head of Unity is John Riccitiello, who is notorious for being in charge of EA during its worst period. Remember when EA was at its absolute worst, pushing microtransactions, online passes, like they used game stuff, like all that stuff was mostly from him. He was the one notoriously who wanted to charge players to reload their gun in Battlefield. There's a lot, so it's not surprising here, but this is unfortunate because a lot of games are in Unity. And so I've been talking to a lot of people behind the scenes, and they're already all scrambling to find services and third-party development studios and contract workers to essentially port games over away from Unity. So there's that. Unity also has stuff outside of the gaming world, so I don't know why they're doing this. And again, it's harder if you're not a developer to put yourself in the shoes where you look at the breakdown and the threshold where it's like, oh, 20 cents per install that Unity is going to charge you. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but there are so many ramifications for that. So many different ways games are installed and offered that I'm curious to see if Unity actually sticks to this change. We'll have to just wait and see though. We'll keep you guys updated. And again, The Verge is a really good explainer. If you're a layman like me, you're not a game developer, so go check that out. All the stories I talk about, of course, are linked in the description. Hey, now switching gears over here to talk about today's sponsor of this video, NordVPN. Lately, I've been on the road traveling, for work and stuff like that, and it's a good time to talk about NordVPN because I have it installed on all of my machines at the office and here on my laptop on the go. Specifically because it is one of the best things for online security. From phishing, scams, password attacks, malware, DDoS attacks, it pays to be safer online. You've probably read in the headlines about massive account breaches happening to big, huge corporations. It can happen to you too. So with NordVPN, all of your data stays safe behind a wall of next generation encryption. And the best part is that they protect your data. They have a strict no logs policy so your data isn't bought or sold. But if you tend to click on bad links by mistake or download harmful stuff by accident, thankfully, NordVPN has threat protection, which you can switch on whether you're connected or not to have it keep watch over bad links, downloads, and trackers. And all of NordVPN's features are super easy to use. The thing is very simple to set up. You can have it on multiple devices. Like I said, it's good to have on the go here. They've really got everything and tons of settings. So if you want to check it out, right now you can get a 2-year plan at a huge discount plus 4 additional months for free when you use our link, which is nordvpn.com/gameranx. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, so give it a shot, see if it works for you. And once again, that's nordvpn.com/gameranx, or click the link in the description down below to get the best deal on the internet right there. And again, big thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring our videos. We also had a bunch of events this week as well. Nintendo Direct hosted their thing where we got some updates on some games and stuff. Specifically, there's Mario vs. Donkey Kong releasing in February. We also got new Super Mario RPG gameplay. It's looking really good. We also got a new look at the re-release of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. We know it's coming in 2024. And that's looking dope. The Princess Peach game got a gameplay reveal. It actually looks pretty cool. It's a little different. She's got kind of like a Final Fantasy job style system to it. That is coming March 22nd. Interestingly enough, at the Nintendo Direct, it was announced that the original 3 Tomb Raider games from back in the day, the trilogy, are being kind of remastered. They're releasing on Nintendo Switch, but also all the other major platforms. But essentially, it's still the old school clunky Tomb Raider, but with a cool skin on it, and you can switch back and forth between the old graphics and the somewhat updated graphics. So it's essentially a toggle for triangle boobs versus real boobs. Kidding aside though, I am really keen to check that out because I love old school Tomb Raider. But we don't have time to talk about everything from the Nintendo Direct, but one thing that was really good is F-Zero is back, sort of. Nintendo did the Nintendo thing where they brought something back, but not quite in the way you want it, with F-Zero 99. This is essentially like how Tetris 99 was. You can call it almost like an F-Zero 100-player battle royale type of thing. Classic F-Zero. So it might not be what everybody wanted, but it's a shadow drop. It's out now, and it's a cool concept. Is it the next big thing? Is it a new F-Zero game? No, not really, but I'm happy that Nintendo has finally given F-Zero something. In the comments, I definitely want to hear from you guys about the Nintendo Direct, but also if you jumped into F-Zero, are you playing that? Are you digging that? Let's talk. Next up in events, there was also the PlayStation State of Play. Just updates on some existing games, mostly. We know Baby Steps is coming to PlayStation in 2024. We got a big new trailer for the Ubisoft Avatar game, which I'll say it looks pretty cool. I love Avatar. It's just like a Far Cry Avatar first-person shooting thing. Seems cool. Ghost Runner 2 had a new trailer, a release date, and a demo available now. I am dying to check that out. Also, new PlayStation hardware colors, 3, like a red, a blue, and a silver. I didn't expect that. That took me by surprise. But also, a pretty good in-depth Helldivers 2 gameplay sequence. It did the thing with like the multiplayer voices that I know bothers some people, but the game looks pretty fun, and we know that's releasing February 8th. We also got a over-the-top new trailer for Insomniac's Spider-Man 2. It looks awesome. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Also, we got a trailer for the Resident Evil 4 Remake DLC, the whole Ada Wong Separate Ways DLC. This looks pretty cool, kind of what I was expecting, but as an old school fan, I'm glad they actually like committed to doing this here. Apparently, Capcom is going to show more of this off in a couple of days, like September 18th. But of course, wrapping up that event was a big new trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We got to see a lot here. We got to see Sephiroth. We got to see all the main characters out in the world doing their thing. People have gotten hands-on previews with the game. That stuff is circulating around out on the internet, and the sentiment so far is pretty good. But the biggest thing with it is that we got a release date now. It's February 29th, 2024. Wow, I gotta get used to saying 2024. That's weird. But yeah, like I teased at the start, I did get to go hands-on with Spider-Man 2. It's a preview. It was an earlier version of the game, and I got to play it for about 2.5 hours, so can't make a full judgment on the final product. But as a fan, I'm kind of easy to please. I'll be totally honest, show my bias up front. I love the original game and Miles Morales. And here, essentially, what they're doing is sequel stuff, where it's bigger and better. They're dumping more stuff. So combat is more complicated. There's more things, more flashing colors to worry about and react to in certain ways. And there is now a parry. There's an L1 perfect parry for certain types of attacks, which is another thing to get used to in the combat flow, but I learned to dig it. Really, it's the symbiote powers that are mapped to holding L1 and pressing those buttons on cooldowns that are pretty chaotic and really cool. The combat feels a little messier and crazier and more hectic, but also more challenging. And that's good. I had a boss battle with the lizard and I totally got my ass beat. But the biggest thing I did with playing the game for as long as I could is I tried to explore every corner of the map, specifically the new Brooklyn and Queens. The area isn't as big as you'd expect. It is not like a complete extra Manhattan, but there's a lot there, and there's some low-lying buildings. Does it sort of feel like Brooklyn and Queens? Kind of. You know, it's more of like an idealized version, kind of like how the Manhattan is, but still looks good. And since there's a lot of low buildings there, you're going to get around with the wingsuit. So think in the original Spider-Man where, you know, you swung too high, you swung over a park, you couldn't do much. Now you press triangle and you can glide. You can also find like wind streams, like slip streams, and get into those wind tunnels and zip through the city much quicker. Then it kind of turns into a flying game, and I did not like that as much. I prefer the web swinging, and the web swing feels great. The animations seem way, way crazier and over the top, but also there are new tricks to the web swing, and including like an alley-oop type thing, a slingshot type thing, and like a right angle hard swing that can spin around this way. It's hard to explain, but as a weirdo about the web swinging for all Spider-Man games, I was happy. I still have a lot of questions in terms of like how the symbiote thing and how regular Peter is going to work out, and just more of the team-based stuff. I did get to fight with Miles playing as Peter in random open world sections, like those little crimes and stuff. Also, I didn't get to experiment with a lot of the side quests, so I still need to see if they're actually unique or if they're going to be repetitive again. But it is absolutely more Spider-Man. The story stuff I got to see, no spoilers, I really liked. That's what I come to these games for. So there's that. Just an early look. If you want to hear more in-depth thoughts, I also put out a video on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jake Baldino. I'll link that in the description down below. But yeah, Jake's preview corner over. I'm still linking some other things in the description down below, including stuff that's dropping this week or next week. Lies of P. I did the review for that. The Before You Buy is linked in the description down below. It is a Souls-like Pinocchio, dark and gritty Pinocchio thing, and I really dug it. Also, Mortal Kombat 1 is dropping now and next week, depending on what version of the game you buy. Reviews so far seem to be positive, so I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that sometime next week and talking about it. Also, we got a big new trailer for Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. That's right around the corner as well. There are too many games right now. It's insane. But one other thing I wanted to highlight is that Apple had the event where they announced a new iPhone, as they do every year. But more and more every year, they also talk about gaming. And this year specifically, with the processor on the newly announced iPhone 15, Apple touted full playable console games on this thing. Most notably, the Resident Evil 4 Remake Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage are going to be like playable and coming to iPhone 15. And I'm really curious to see how that goes down. Because if it doesn't look like poop, that's pretty big. That's significant. There are so many people out there that just exclusively play mobile games. They only play games on their phone. They don't have time to sit down on a console or worry about that stuff. So many people play on their phone. I learn more and more. So I'm curious if like giving those people the full console style game experience on their phone, is that going to take off? I don't know. But like I said, when that stuff starts dropping, we will totally do some tests, maybe make a cool video, because I want to see Death Stranding on a phone. Do I want to play all of Death Stranding on a phone? No, but I like technology. It's interesting. So very curious to see how this stuff goes down. That's the new stuff we had time to cover this week. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking about these stories. I'd love to hear from you. But of course, want to point out the pinned comment that we're going to have in the comment section. Let us know what games you're playing for our research. Are you playing Starfield? Are you playing Baldur's Gate or a million other new games right now? Are you playing something old? We want to hear from you. But thank you for commenting. We'll be down there as much as possible, of course. But if you want to yell at me directly, find me on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for being here every Friday. You know how this goes. We're just getting you caught up on the news. So if you like this, you learned something, clicking the like button helps us out. Thank you. But like I said, I'm really jet lagged, so I'm going to go to bed. I'm Jake Baldino. Have a good weekend. Pizza's on me.